What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word? Hummingbird. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 14. So the episode starts off with Mitch and Kristen. They are on their way to the couples retreat, and on their way there, they have a conversation about what happened at the pool party. So Kristen expresses all of her concerns and frustrations of how Mitch acted at the pool party, the things that he said, and how they made her feel. And she actually apologizes to him about her outburst, for her outburst. She apologizes to him. I think she said that she could have handled it a little bit differently. And at some point, maybe before they left for the retreat, I think they showed us some footage of their in-house surveillance camera, and I think at that point he apologized to her about making her feel bad and saying the things that he said. And then later on at the retreat, he ended up apologizing to her again. So it seems like at this point where we're at with Kristen and Mitch, everything seems to be, okay. So while they're still in the car driving to the retreat, Kristen tells Mitch that she needs positive affirmations. I guess that's her love language. And so Mitch gives her these positive affirmations like immediately. He tells her, no, for real, I think you're beautiful. I think you're sweet. I think you're intelligent. I think you're this. I think you're that. And she's like, that's good. That's good. That's what I want to hear. And to me, I was just kind of like, for me, if I tell someone, hey, I need positive affirmations, I need to hear more compliments from you, and they immediately start complimenting me, it wouldn't sound very genuine. I would want them to at least wait for a moment that might seem a little bit more natural, but it was good for Kristen, and all we want is for Kristen to be happy. And while I was watching that scene, I was thinking to myself, well, Kristen, you and Mitch are in a good place again. So I really hope that she tells the rest of the group that her and Mitch are at a good place because, the whole group had turned against them in the last episode and now they're good. And what really sucks is like when you're good with your partner again, but all your friends still hate them. So hopefully, she tells the group, I was thinking, hopefully she'll tell the group that everything is fine now with her and Mitch. And eventually, I think as soon as she got there, she ended up telling everybody that everything was fine. So people start arriving at this couples retreat, and let's talk about Justin and Alexis. So they're still back at, no, they're getting ready for the prom. They're at the retreat and they're getting ready for the prom. And we find out at this, okay, the prom is for, Lindy. Lindy grew up in a very uber religious, very restrictive type of household. So she never got to experience all the normal things that people experience in their teenage years. So she never had a prom or never went to prom. I think she said in her class there was like 5 people or something. So yeah, she never experienced anything like that. So I think it was Miguel's idea at the retreat for them to throw a prom for her so she could experience that as well. So as Justin and Alexis are getting ready for this prom, we find out that they consummated their marriage. And Justin says in his confessional that he had waited, that waiting made it so much better. And that it wasn't just, a physical kind of thing. He says that they actually like connected and it was like making love and all these wonderful flowery things. And even though Justin said that, and even though basically, we're going to say that he got what he wanted, I still had this feeling that Justin was still not back to his normal self. Like that pep still wasn't there. That sunshine still wasn't there in him. He still seemed kind of like doom and gloom to me. So soon after that, we, the selfie of all selfies, right? The selfie that damn near destroyed a relationship. So Miguel and Lindy, we don't actually see them in their scene, but we hear their audio. And what we hear is Lindy asking, no, not asking, telling Miguel that she wanted him to take a selfie. Whatever he was doing, it wasn't satisfactory to her. So she actually gets upset and she talks to him with anger in her voice, saying something like, no, not like that. You're doing it wrong. She wasn't shouting, it wasn't screaming, but you can definitely tell that she wasn't happy with how he was taking the damn picture. And he basically tells her at that moment, look, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but you don't have to talk to me like that. And so when she sees that he's upset with the tone of her voice and how she's talking to him, she very quickly tells him that she was just joking because she knows that she's already messed up, because she knows that this is an issue for Miguel. He's already expressed this to her several times that, that sometimes, you get into, you're quick to anger. You're very, very quick to anger, and I don't like it. So when he expresses that, she completely tones it down, and then she tries to smooth it over by saying, oh, I was just joking. I really didn't mean it. I was just joking. So they kind of go like back and forth, right? And so then she tells him, I don't want to argue with you anymore over a photo. Okay, if it's too insignificant to argue about, then Lindy, it should have been too insignificant for you to get upset about. It's just a selfie. So this is already not a very good start to their weekend. This was actually very, very telling about what was to come. So now we're actually at the damn prom, and like I said before, I thought it was really sweet of them to do this for Lindy. I think even Miguel had bought her a dress, and I thought the dress was really, it looked really nice on her. Lindy doesn't want their little tiff to ruin their night. So I guess they're going to make, the best of it. Now, they do all the typical prom stuff. They take pictures, they take couples pictures, they take group photos. So it's all really, really cute. So while they're dancing, Miguel says that the whole situation is trying him. He actually tells Lindy that this whole situation is really trying for me. Lindy tells him that, what we need to do, we need to just try to communicate better with one another. And Miguel was like, I thought I was communicating with you. He said that, I was laying in the bed, I was chilling, I was relaxing. I guess he had a really hard week at work. And why Lindy didn't know this, or why Miguel didn't communicate this to her, that, he had a very stressful week and maybe he wasn't in the best of moods for this retreat. I don't understand like where the breakdown was, because he blamed it on, because he was completely like, he wasn't really into this whole trip to begin with. And it was because I guess he had like a very stressful week. Did he not communicate this to her? Or did she not pick this up in his attitude and his body language? I don't understand how they were not on the same page with, like, how she was completely clueless on what he was going through. And I don't want to blame her for not picking up the signs, and I don't want to blame him for not communicating to her. So I have no idea what went on, but we do find out that he did have a very stressful week and his mind really wasn't altogether there, according to Miguel. So he says, well, I was communicating with you because I was laying in the bed, I was chilling, I was, trying to, distress. And so he was communicating to her, I guess, through his body language, not with his actual words. So I guess you should have just, seen him laying in the bed and assumed, oh, Miguel doesn't want to be bothered. So Miguel said that Lindy was gaslighting him because when he called her out for having that angry tone, she kind of was like, was like, what's wrong with you? I'm not angry. I was just joking. So she completely, twists the narrative completely around. She really did get mad at him during that selfie scene, from what we could hear, because we could hear the anger in her tone. She was clearly upset with how he was taking the selfie. But she wants to make it look like, no, you misunderstood. It wasn't that deep for me. I was just joking. I was just kidding around. So Miguel says, well, you don't talk to me like that ever. And so Lindy keeps on insisting that she was just joking. Finally, she says that, well, I was frustrated. So she went from, oh, I was just joking. Then she goes to, well, I was frustrated. And she said that she thought that he was joking as well. And Lindy didn't realize how severe she came off. She was completely unaware. So this is like, that's not surprising to me, because a lot of times, I think anybody, you'll have a moment where you think that you're coming across as normal, but people are picking it up as something else. You think that you're just your normal self, but it's like either you're angry or you're sad or you're upset about something, and you have no idea that's how you're coming across. And I'm assuming that in the moment, she didn't realize exactly how she was coming across. Then Lindy begins to victimize herself, right? So all of a sudden, she says, I don't feel like I'm being heard. Um, she says that it was just misguided frustration. So now she starts like, doing the whole pouty thing, like, oh, you weren't paying attention to me. Um, I was trying to get you engaged in the moment, but you were just blowing me off. Just basically making herself look like the victim and making him look like, the perpetrator. Lindy in her confessional says that she was really alarmed on how severe and how harsh Miguel was sounding to her. So this is kind of interesting to me. During that photo incident, the selfie incident, I could hear the anger in her tone, but she claims that she wasn't angry. When they're having this conversation, while they were dancing at the prom, when they're having the conversation and they're addressing the issue, in her confessional, she says, I was really surprised on how harsh Miguel was sounding, how harsh he was being with me. And he was definitely not happy and he was clearly upset, but I feel like he kind of had a reason to be frustrated with her. And he had the right to express how frustrated he was. During the selfie incident, I think it didn't make any sense it didn't make any sense to me why she would have been so upset that he didn't automatically just jump up and just got like, oh, okay, Lindy, I'll take a picture. What do you want to do? How do you? It's understandable that maybe he really wasn't in the mood, but he was still doing what she demanded him to do because we heard it all. She demanded him to get up and take, and she didn't demand it in a rude way. She became rude when he wasn't doing it as enthusiastically as she wanted him to do it. Then her tone changed. So then Lindy completely turns it around to, she makes it seem like, oh, I didn't know you would have been so upset about taking a selfie. What's the big deal? It's just a selfie. She kind of turns it around into like, it had nothing to do with her. She completely removed herself from the equation. And now it was just about him being upset or frustrated or too tired to take a picture. Like, who in their right mind would be upset about taking a picture? She also then says in her confessional that when he was addressing this issue with her, it was very selfish of him because it was ruining her prom. Lindy minimizes everything by saying that he's just mad about taking a selfie. I've already said that. And so Lindy tells him, okay, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it. And, what's going to help is, this communication, us constantly communicating with one another is just what's going to help me. Okay, fine. That whole scene, in my opinion, Lindy was wrong with the whole entire selfie thing. If you didn't feel like taking a selfie, girl, it's no big deal. I mean, there's constantly 10 people around y'all at all times. She could have asked somebody else to take the damn selfie for her if it was that important and she couldn't take it herself. Like I said, did she not realize he was having a bad week? Did he not communicate to her he was having a bad week? That maybe he just wanted to decompress? The fact that he still did it, because anybody else probably would have told her, no, I'm not taking a selfie. I don't feel like it. I'm not in the mood. Take your own damn selfie. But he didn't. He tried to oblige. And if she noticed that he was kind of like tired or he really wasn't doing it the right way, she should have just been like, just kind of like take a mental note and then just tell him thank you and then take your own damn selfie. And then later on, maybe you can address it to him. You'll say like, when I asked you to take a picture of me, kind of seemed like, you're kind of upset about it. And I'm just kind of like, want to touch base with you and figure out, if you're feeling okay. Moving on. Alexis. Oh, okay. So they do the whole, what do they call it? I forgot what it's called. The whole, voted best, voted this, voted that. So Alexis was voted the biggest gossip. And I'm just like, I thought it was so hilarious that her whole entire, the whole entire cast, called her out for being a gossip, but she wasn't ashamed of it. She knows she's a gossip. Stasha and Nate said that this was the most appropriate of all the awards, and that they do believe that Stasha was the cause of Ben and Morgan's divorce. I think Stasha had said that instead of Stasha relaying to Morgan what Ben was telling Justin, Alexis, Sasha said instead of Alexis telling Morgan what Justin was saying or what Ben was telling Justin, Alexis should have just encouraged Ben to talk to his own wife. So it's the consensus is everybody believes that Alexis was the cause of Stasha and Morgan's divorce. At the end of the day, they did what they wanted to do, right? Nobody can force you to do something that you don't want to do. But Alexis definitely had a part in it. She definitely got the ball rolling. But at the end of the day, it was their decision to part ways. Miguel and Lindy, they were voted most likely to stay married. I thought that was hilarious. They put up a good front when they're up there accepting their awards. You know, they're kissy kissy, lovey lovey, like everything is just so fine and perfect with them. No indication that they had this, this major disagreement about a damn selfie. Most likely with multiple divorces was Kristen. She voted for herself. And Midge was a little bit bothered by that, because it was kind of like, okay, so she kind of feels like she has no hope in this marriage working either. But anyways, it was just all for fun. He got over it. Later on that night, Lindy and Miguel have a conversation about, what happened. And it seems like, they're communicating, they're talking about the issue. And it seems like, they're getting better. They're getting back on track. Lindy says in her confessional, I don't believe I didn't do anything wrong. And when she said that, I was like, that's when I knew this is not going to work. This marriage is over. It's basically over before decision day. If Miguel ends up saying yes on decision day, that's fine. He can say yes all he wants. She can say yes all she wants. They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. And it's just going to be worse afterward because Lindy's going to have the impression that if he says yes on decision day, she's going to have the impression that, oh my God, he loves me. He's in love with me. This is going to work out. This is what I wanted. And I think he's just going to end up breaking her heart even more if they both say yes on decision day, because for her to not have any self-awareness of how she contributed to that argument, to that incident, then his problems with her have only just begun. Have only just begun, because she should know that her tone, her demanding tone of him taking the selfie and then her getting upset that he wasn't doing it the way she wanted him to do it. She should know how she contributed to this whole situation, but she claimed that she didn't do anything wrong. Stasha and Nate come over because they realize that there's some kind of tension between Lindy and Miguel. So they go over to Lindy and Miguel's room and they bring their sex harness with them. And insanity ensues. Moving on. Justin and Alexis. They go on a date. Justin has said that he wanted to have a very romantic date with his lady love, so he decided to take her to a winery. And so they go to the winery and then they're sitting down, they're having wine. And Alexis says that people have noticed that Justin is a whole lot happier now. He's smiling a whole lot more because of the fact that how do I put this? That she bestowed upon him her greatest gift. So he should be extremely appreciative. She feels like, because she gave him a little something, something, it should turn his life completely around. Like now it's like he's a whole new man now. He's a whole new person. The heavens opened up and the angels sang, and he should just be so grateful. So he should get on his knees and just show how appreciative he is that she sprinkled him with her love magic. So he's looking at her like, oh, I don't feel any different. He's like, I think I'm the same person. And so she says, well, things are going to be a whole lot better now. That's what she says. Justin says that he's more concerned about the long term. He's more concerned about he's not wrapped up in, oh, okay, this moment is so great, so everything is going to work out. He's really concerned about how things are going to work out in the long run. Justin says there are some things that are not going to come into fruition in 8 weeks. There's just some things that they're not going to be able to experience that are going to be important, but they're not going to have a chance to experience in 8 weeks. Basically, like, not enough can happen in 8 weeks for us to really make a solid decision of what we want to do for the rest of our lives. Alexa says that she knows all she needs to know. She says, based on your characteristics and what I know of you, I can determine how you're going to be in certain situations. And I'm cool with that. I'm okay with that. I know enough about you to know how you're going to be in every single scenario that life will ever have to throw at us. She says, from what I know of your characteristics, I can apply that to everything else. That's what she said. I still don't believe in this union between Justin and Alexis. I don't believe it. I don't believe that Alexis is being genuine with Justin. I think Justin is still the same as he was, before she let him pluck her flower. I think that he's still the same. I feel like Justin has not been the same since they came back from their honeymoon. I don't think it was the dog incident per se. I think that it was a lot of things just building up. I think the more he got to know her when they moved in, because, when you live with someone, that's when you know the real deal Holyfield of who that person is. I think when they moved in together, I think he realized exactly what he got himself into. And I don't think he really was that crazy about what he saw or what he sees in Alexis since living with her. I don't think that I think Justin is extremely genuine in who he is. I think he's been very clear to her in what he wants. She's the one that's been playing head games. And she plays these games so well that she ends up believing the things that she says and the things that she does. She thinks that she's being a genuine person. She's completely clueless that we've all figured her out. Justin has figured her out. Everybody else on the cast has figured her out. I figured her out. She's not serious, she's not genuine, she's not honest to this man about how she really feels and what she really wants. And I think Alexis is more concerned about her image than she is about making a true connection with this man. That's just my personal opinion. Kristen and Mitch go do archery. I wasn't paying attention. I was on my phone. I was on TikTok. I have no idea what happened in that scene, but I think they forgave each other and all is well. Moving on. Miguel and Lindy. So Miguel and Lindy go on a carriage ride, a horseback carriage ride. I don't know. Carriage ride. They're in a carriage and it's pulled by some horses. And Miguel wants to make this extremely romantic. He wants to try to connect with her. And so he wants to recite some poetry that he had written specifically for Lindy. So as he's reciting his poetry, she keeps on getting distracted by a bunny, a horse, a blade of grass. And he gets frustrated with her because every time he starts with his poems, she interrupts him. And in his confessional, he says that he was extremely irritated. And at that moment, he was just running on fumes because let's not forget that Miguel had a very long week. Who knows what the hell happened? Who knows what's going on? They're not telling us exactly what happened. Anyways, I guess it was work related. And he's just running on fumes. He's barely hanging on. And he's trying to make this really romantic moment with her. And she's just like, oh my God, look at the clouds. Oh my God, look at that fly. Oh, and he about had it. So while they were having wine, Miguel was explaining something to her, right? Because I think it doesn't even matter. He was explaining something to her and she got distracted again. And she was like, oh my God, look at those people over there on their iPhones. Yeah, because that's so unusual. It's so bizarre and fascinating to see people on their iPhones because that's something that, is so rare. So he got frustrated again. And he finally tells her that, look, you're interrupting me. I'm trying to have a moment with you and you keep interrupting me. So she apologizes and she's like, oh, all I ask for is for grace and understanding. Wow, he had patience. He had patience. Because that's like a huge pet peeve of mine. If you're trying to talk to someone, about something important and they keep getting distracted, they keep interrupting you. Oh my God, it makes me see red. Miguel had a lot of patience. And so she says, all I ask for is just for grace and understanding. And he says, I'm giving it to you, but don't expect me to give you any more deep and meaningful conversations. Lindy says, well, this is a learning process. We're getting to know each other. We're learning about each other. You can't expect me, to be a certain way and just like automatically just know what you expect from me. It's, I'm learning about you. You're learning about me, blah, 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 learning, learning, learning. We don't really know each other. We're figuring it all out. And so she gets so frustrated with herself that she gets up and she leaves and she's crying. And then I begin to wonder, is Lindy ready for marriage? Is she ready for a full blown, grown up, adult, mature relationship? Is she really ready for that? Because she was so sheltered and so restricted as a child and as a teenager, I'm beginning to wonder if some part of her was stunted. Some level of maturity in her is still growing. It's still developing. It's like mentally, emotionally, some type of maturity, like her maturity level is still developing and she's not at that moment yet. That's what I'm beginning to wonder, because her outburst, her emotions, her crying, it just makes me really wonder if this woman is ready to be in a marriage, because I don't know exactly how old she is. I'm assuming she's like in her early 30s. She just seems so young. And then also, like I said, her upbringing probably didn't really help her mature at the same level as her peers who were not in such a restricted environment. Lindy is tired of feeling like she's not enough for him. Miguel runs after her. He tries to console her. He apologizes for making her cry. And Miguel said, so they go back to the table and they start talking again. And Miguel says something about, he referred to their interaction as a blow up. And she was like, excuse me, what? A blow up? You consider this a blow up? And he's like, yeah, don't you see how we're having an issue here? And she says, yeah, we're having an issue, but we're conducting it in a reasonable, mature conversation. Blow up is like yelling and screaming and throwing things. This is not a blow up. And I was like, Miguel, you're doing the most. You're doing the most. This is not a blow. I don't know what you're talking about, but this is not a blow up. This is not a blow up. So then I'm beginning to wonder, like, what he considers her blow-ups, are they really Now, she does kind of overreact. She does get overly dramatic, and she does have a quick temper. And so the whole selfie thing was over the top. The insurance thing, the way she talked to him, I thought was a little bit over the top. It was a little bit too much. You can have a conversation with someone without cussing. But cuss words is like a part of her vocabulary. For somebody who was so restricted as a child and had a really strict upbringing, she loves cussing, because I realized that I don't think they beep anybody as much as they beep Lindy. So let's get to dinner. So we're at dinner. The women are in the kitchen preparing dinner. The men are outside waiting, and Lindy and Miguel are late because, they're arguing wherever the hell they're at. And so in the kitchen, Alexis, I think it was Stasha, she brings up, oh, I heard that you and Justin made it happen. And Alexis like, yeah, well. And so Alexis says, it was really awkward. And she's, I guess she attributed to it being their first time, and a lot of buildup was put into it, like, a lot of anticipation. And also she says because he was celibate for so long, so she says that his stamina was not up to snuff. I had a coworker one time tell me, because she was a strong believer in waiting until you're married before you get physical, and we're having a discussion, and someone had said, well, don't you have to test out the car before you buy it? And my coworker had said, if you love someone, if there's love there, that when it happens, it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. When the love is there, because it's not about just instant physical gratification. It's about this emotional connection, this expression of love. So if you truly, truly love each other, when it happens, regardless of the stumbles, the awkwardness, the this, the that, because it's not going to go as smoothly as it does in the movies. it will still be magical, and it will still be satisfactory to both, because the emotions is what's driving it, not just okay, you know, you're just waiting for that touchdown. Just waiting for that touchdown to happen. It's like, okay, when is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's this touchdown going to happen? It's not about that. It's just about really, truly connecting. And then whatever awkwardness, whatever errors that you make in that process, you know, as time goes on, you'll learn to correct them, and you'll learn more about each other, and you'll learn to make it right. But it should never be kind of like, well, you know, he didn't really last. So what do you want me to say? So Alexis then asks Stasha and Kristen, because Lindy's still missing. She says, in the past, would you have stayed with your husband if the intimacy was not that good? And both said yes. And Stasha says, to tell you the truth, sex is not a determining factor for me. And to me, that was spoken like a woman who's getting her back broken, who's getting her back broke. Kristen says, yeah, that's all good to be like, yeah, it's not that important or whatever, but it doesn't hurt if it's very passionate, if it's, what did she say, National Geographic, Animal Kingdom, like just really hot and heavy. And I thought to myself, okay, that's spoken like a woman who's not getting her back broke. Something tells me that the one that said, oh yeah, it's not really a priority, to have like this great and amazing, and physical attraction or physical interaction. That's, to me, I felt like, okay, you're saying that, Stasha, but you are getting it. You are getting it like that. It is fireworks with you and Nate. Alexis says that she stayed in other relationships where it was the bomb, but she's here for other reasons now. Tell us that your partner is not satisfying you without telling us that your partner is not satisfying you, Alexis. Lindy and Miguel finally arrive, and you can tell that Lindy's pissed. The women talk about decision day. They're still in the kitchen. They're still cooking. They're talking about decision day. Kristen says that the wife in her tells her that she should say yes, but the woman in her tells her that she should say no. Yes, I think you should say no. I think the wife and the woman in you should say no, because even though her and Mitch have their moments of positivity, I don't think she's ready for a life with Mitch. I don't think she's ready at all for a life with Mitch. Lindy and Miguel. So they have this moment now where they're getting ready for dinner, and they're on the terrace, I guess you could say. And Lindy wanted another damn selfie taken. And so instead of asking Miguel, she asks one of the producers. And so then Miguel says, look, just because we had an issue earlier, it doesn't mean that you could never ask me to take a picture of you. And so she's like, well, I really didn't know what level of energy you had. I didn't know, your level of energy, if you're really in the mood, if I was disturbing your inner peace. And so I thought it was just better for me to ask someone else. And then she says, because like, I'm really confused, because at first you didn't want to take a selfie, and now you want to take a selfie. You want to take a selfie. And I'm like, Lindy, you know what's up. Stop being so damn immature. Grow the hell up. You know exactly what's up. You know exactly what's up. It wasn't the fact that you asked him to take a selfie. It was how you asked him to take that damn selfie. And after he obliged and was trying to take the damn selfie, you snapped at him because he wasn't taking it right. It was how you talk to him. I'm not here to say whether or not Lindy was right or wrong or should be forgiven or it was no big deal. I'm just reacting from what I saw and what led to this breakdown in communication. So, Lindy, with you, I'm so confused. I don't know. Do you want to take us over? Girl, stop. So then he says to her, well, look, if you're confused and you don't know what's what, then it makes me feel like that we wasted our time with that whole entire conversation that we had earlier, because you're just not getting it. And so then She goes, well, I just wanted to play it safe and not overstep my boundaries in case you were enjoying the sunset or something. So then she starts mocking his feelings. And then she had the audacity to walk up to him and ask him for a hug. And then he was like, no, sorry. Mm-mm. So then she runs off crying because, they exchange some more words. She runs off back into the room crying. He follows her into the room. They're in the bathroom. They're mic'd, but we can't see them. And they're having a conversation. And Lindy's like, everything I do is wrong. Everything I say is wrong. I don't know what you want from me. Oh, wait a minute. This is before they ran into the bathroom. So before they ran into the bathroom, after he dejected her hug, that's when she said, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know if I should, I don't know when it's going to be, when it's okay for me to tell you to take a selfie of me. And he's like, well, why don't you just ask? Why don't you just ask, hey, do you want to take a selfie? Just ask. And she completely missed the point. And he's like trying to tell her in like 1,000 different ways. It's not about the picture. It's not about the selfie, but it's how you communicate with me. And this is your habit and this is your pattern. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the tone. I'm sick of you demanding. I'm sick of your outbursts. I'm sick of your anger. I'm sick of your temper. It's how you communicate when things are not really going your way. That's when she takes off, runs into the bathroom, and he follows her back there, and he tries to console her, blah, blah, blah. I'm so sorry, Lindy. When I declined your hug, when I rejected your hug, I wasn't rejecting you. I was, what did he say? I don't know what he said. He goes, I just really wasn't feeling like I was connecting. I was feeling disconnected and misunderstood. That's why I didn't want to hug you. In the very beginning of their bathroom conversation, she had said that she had been holding back the tears for so long. And then later on in the same conversation, she says, the whole time I thought that everything was really smooth between us. So were you holding back tears or was everything really smooth between y'all? Finally, we get to dinner. Lindy and Miguel are absent because they're arguing. Stasha tells Nate about Justin and Alexis's moment, in their little confessional. She tells Nate, hey, Alexis and Justin consummated their marriage. And she said that Alexis was really nonchalant about it because, Justin in his confessional, he said that it was magical. It wasn't just sex. They were making love and all this other stuff. And, Stasha tells Nate, yeah, Alexis was really nonchalant about it. And Alexis, she's a pleaser. Is she? She's a pleaser. And as long as he was satisfied, that's all that really mattered to her, even though she herself wasn't satisfied at all. Finally, they get to sit down for dinner. At the table, Mitch kisses Kristen on the cheek. And here comes Alexis. So, Mitch, you're attracted to your wife now? And Mitch obliged and he answered the question. And I was like, Mitch, honey, you are better than me. Because if she would have come to me with that attitude and with that mess, Mitch, you're attracted to your wife now? I would have said, Alexis, are you sexually satisfied by your husband now? Stay out of my damn business and worry about your man pleasing you. And if that will ever happen. Yeah, I'm attracted to my damn wife. And what? And so Mitch shuts it all down and he says, this should never be questioned ever again, whether or not I am attracted to Kristen, because I am attracted to Kristen. I am attracted to Kristen. I am attracted to Kristen. Stasha, her lady parts are being electrocuted by Nate because she has on vibrating underwear and he's got the control and he doesn't know how to work it. So, he lit her up and I was expecting smoke to start emanating from her crotch. Moving on. The group reunites, right? Everybody gets together again. Miguel and Lindy finally grace everybody with their presence. And Miguel takes full responsibility of the breakdown of their relationship. He takes full responsibility. I think that Miguel's issues with Lindy are legit. I think they're legit issues, but I think he keeps on covering them up, pushing them aside, taking responsibility when she also needs to take responsibility. And I think he's doing that because I think he feels bad. I think Miguel knows how this story is going to end, and it's not going to end pretty. And so I think he probably feels bad for her, and he wants to show her some type of mercy or something. Like he doesn't like he knows that she's really going to go through it probably at the very end because he's probably going to reject her and not want to stay married to her. And so he wants to make the journey to the end as smooth and as pleasant as possible for her. That's what I'm thinking because I don't understand like why he will address issues with her, tell her what's bothering him, but then he pulls back and he's like, "Oh, it's all my fault. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. I apologize." And then so when he told the group, yeah, whatever issues they were having, he's like, "But I take full responsibility. I take accountability. I wasn't doing this. I wasn't doing that." And then here comes Lindy. "Thank you for saying that." They play dodgeball the next day. Miguel is over this whole entire retreat. I think he's over Lindy. I think he's exhausted by Lindy and all of her emotions and all of her antics has worn him the hell out. And so he really doesn't want to be there anymore, but he's going to stay because Lindy wants to stay and, play with her friends. So they play dodgeball. Lindy and Miguel are on opposite teams, and Lindy is supporting her team. She's cheering her team on. So she wants her team to completely annihilate the other team that Miguel is on. So she wants whoever's throwing balls at Miguel to completely, annihilate him. And so she's encouraging her teammate to knock out the opponent, which is Miguel. Miguel gets all up in his feelings and he's just like, "You need to be encouraging me. You need to be giving me positive affirmations." And Lindy and everybody else are like, "This is just a game. Okay. This is just a game. Relax." But he's all in his feelings. And so at the end of the game, they go to their separate teams and Miguel is telling his team all the issues that he's having with Lindy. I don't think Miguel cared about the positive affirmations or her talking crap to him during the dodgeball game. I don't think it's that at all. I think the whole Lindy thing has been a bit much for Miguel. That's what I think. Maybe Miguel is a little bit too sensitive. I don't know, because I do see some faults in Lindy. I do see her temper as being an issue. I really do. And maybe he's not used to that. Maybe he's not used to people communicating to one another like that. He's more, because even his friends earlier on in the season, when his friends met her at the housewarming party, his friends are like, "Do you not see these red flags?" So he's probably not used to someone with that kind of a temperament, that type of passion, those strong emotions. And it's fine if he's not used to that. I don't think there's a problem with that. And it's fine if Lindy is who she is and she doesn't want to tame it down. She doesn't want to take control of her emotions. Maybe there's a guy out there that wouldn't mind her and her outburst. But anyways, so Miguel is talking to his team about the breakdown of their relationship, and Stasha is on his team. And Stasha says that she doesn't think that Miguel has changed much at all, and that he is still trying just to get through these 8 weeks. Like, Stasha is basically saying that Miguel is still not really committed to Lindy or being married to her. He's just trying to survive at this point. Lindy is talking to her team, which consists of Mitch, Nate, and Alexis. And she just starts bawling, talking about all the issues that she has with Miguel. She talks about how Miguel questioned if, no, Miguel questions if they're right for each other, but she tells her teammates that she's afraid that Miguel has been harboring a lot of negative feelings about this marriage, but has never expressed it. He's kept everything inside, and now things are starting to come out. I don't know what the problem is. I really don't know, but I do know one damn thing. Miguel and Lindy, no, not a match. Not a match. I don't buy it. I don't care if they both say yes on decision day. This is not a match made in heaven at all. Lindy is not self-aware. She thinks that nothing she does is wrong. She thinks she's justified in all of her actions. Miguel can't take it. Point blank, period. He can't take it. I think that Miguel has some valid points. I think he's got some valid points. Is he oversensitive in some areas? I have no idea. But every time that he's called her out on her emotions or her outbursts, I've been kind of like on his side. I don't think that she needs to be cussing up a storm because he's like, I'm not going to put you on my insurance if you don't want to change your last name for me. And then she just went on this tirade. I don't agree with that. I don't think she should have acted like that. If you have a problem with what I don't, Lindy might have really good points. She might have some really good points, but the way she expresses them when she feels like she's backed into a corner or when she's very emotional, she just has to find a different way to communicate. Then she can beat him in an argument. But as soon as she starts with the cussing and the tone and the anger, he's checked out. He doesn't even care anymore who's right or who's wrong. He just wants to leave. So with the whole insurance thing and the last name thing, she could have been like, you know what? Okay, if you don't want to put me on your insurance, honey, that is perfectly a-okay. That's fine with me. But don't you ever bring up me changing my last name. Because if you can't put me on your insurance, I just don't feel like you truly see me as your wife. And so a wife would normally change her name for her husband. And I can't change my name for you if you don't see me as a wife. You don't see me as wifey material to put on your insurance plan. You don't have to go into the whole and you want me to change my effing name if you don't even help me get a effing girl, you're doing the most. That is my review. 45 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't believe in Lindy and Miguel. I don't for sure. As I sit here, I do not believe in Justin and Alexis. I don't believe in Mitch and Kristen. I have the thinnest sliver of hope for Stasha and Nate. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.